Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. This is John from Flippin' Ain't Easy. And today we have just me. Jen is not feeling up to it, so we're going to just go ahead and have a little string here. We're just going to go ahead and go with it solo. Hopefully, we can get through a good hour and a half of some eBay discussion. Today, I wanted to kind of just talk to you and ask you the question, what is the one thing that's really holding you back? And this is an honest question that I have, something that you have to kind of really consider and really think about. But what's holding you back from getting to that next step where you want to be? And that's the question I have for you. But while we wait for people to kind of get on in here into the live stream, want to for those of you who are here with us right now in chat or just kind of rolling in, if you are have like questions or maybe some answers to those questions, please post them in the chat. You guys help drive the conversation, and I'm just some guy that's talking to you about reselling, and I don't have all the answers, and your assistance with that helps drive the program to be more than a 15-20 minute just diatribe of some guy telling you what he does. So if you're watching after the fact, please comment down below, put your comments down below, maybe answer some questions. If maybe we have a question that pops up and no one really touches on in the live, maybe you have an answer to that question. Weekend was pretty solid, I have to say. Sales were pretty darn good. I mean, they're not great, but I mean, you're looking at a very solid week. Actually, the last 7 days have been pretty good for us. So not going to complain there. Maybe it has something to do with the fact that the changes that they put into play on the 16th of May are now past us. I'm not seeing a whole lot of glitches. I don't know about you guys. Maybe it's just me. That's the thing about eBay. One seller can see something and be affected by something, and the next person can be, like, I don't know what you're talking about. Everything's been fine. Maybe sales haven't been so great for you, but hey, it's Monday. Let's talk about it. Let's try to find a way to get motivated and figure this thing out, because ultimately that's what we're doing here. We're trying to figure out what we need to do as resellers, our own individual situation. What works for me ain't going to work for you. And what works for you and a few of the people that are killing it right now, maybe ain't going to work for me. So that's what we need to figure out collectively. But I want to, get to the question, and that is, what is the one thing that's holding you back from getting to that next level? For me, the next level is probably having another location. It's certainly something in the back of my mind, like a small warehouse, that type of thing, because I'm dealing with larger items. Having the idea of having a 500 item store from my main store to 1,000 plus items in that store, it's basically the type of items I'm selling. It would be, taking up just a lot of space. Certainly not enough space for a two-car garage to handle. And I'm finding that I'm kind of getting into a situation where I'm running out of space. And case in point, I have 4 pallets that I'm trying to work on getting here. A friend of mine, is going to be helping me. He has a large pickup truck. That thing's only going to hold 2 pallets. So we got to figure out how we're going to get 4 pallets worth of. These are acrylic, clear acrylic, football, basketball, and baseball display cases. So they're all individually wrapped, brand named, everything. And so that's kind of what I'm getting a good deal on it. I think $600 shipped for, we're talking, 4 pallets is pretty darn good. And yeah, these are smaller items. We're talking maybe 6 different SKUs. So, once we account for everything that's there, make the listings, get them launched, and it's probably going to be where behind me, you're going to see like a bunch of, boxes for a while. It is what it is. Have some space maybe in the garage that I've made to accommodate some of it, but for a while it's going to be just kind of hectic. So That's what's holding me back is space. Having a place to put all this stuff is really a challenge. Now, rewind a year ago. You guys know my biggest challenge was sourcing. It was just like, okay, here I got this liquidation. Liquidation's getting worse. Because it's getting worse. My sales are getting worse. And, I was still stuck in trying to make what worked 2 years ago work. And that's the wrong mindset, guys. As soon as you figure out, hey, this ain't working, something's changed. I can't make this money because that I used to 2 years ago because something seems to have changed. My listings seem to be the same. Maybe you've had good listings this whole time. My prices, I try to get my prices, in line with, what's selling, but I'm just not making sales. Well, maybe you have to step away from what you're selling. And that's not saying throw it all out, because I still have a lot of the crap that was selling last year, or the same type of stuff. But I'm replacing that inventory with stuff that actually, for me, is really sold and sold well. So, and it's changed entirely, because my mindset was always, I need to find small items that have value. Well, everyone and their mother is looking for that. And you have the larger items that just are a pain. Maybe people aren't able to lift these larger items, just don't have the space for these larger items. And, I'm making it work where some people aren't willing to do that. And maybe a year ago, I wouldn't even have considered doing what I'm doing now, but it's working. And my sales are back to 2019 levels. And for me, that's where I want to be. And I'm satisfied with that. But if the time ever came where I wanted to expand beyond that, then it would have to be like a warehouse kind of situation. So that's my question to you. What is holding you back? What is the one thing? And everyone's answer is going to be different. It's not a right or wrong answer kind of thing. It really isn't. It could be motivation that's holding you back. Could be the lack of resources. Could be you name it. Could be a lot of things. So let's talk about that here in the chat. So want to say hi to Guide Gurus in the house. Got here super early. We have PTS Treasures. We've got Biscuit Butt is in the house. And Mike Camparelli says, hi, John and Jen and family. How's everyone doing? Some good weather here in New York. And also some great yard sales. Crushed it this weekend. 2 days anticipated sales value of over $2,000 on a $350 outlay. So that's really good, Mike. We know you love your yard sales, man, and that's a really good return. That's let's see, the equivalent of turning $3.85 into $20. So you're looking at what, 15x your well, that's not that much, actually, not that big of a spread, but still it's pretty darn good. What about 6-7x your money? So that's pretty good, Mike. Flippin' Con Marco says, and thus can't sell them. They don't power on, but if they work, that would have been awesome find. Well, didn't want to argue with the cashier. I missed something there. Maybe I missed something there, because that was the first comment you made. So hopefully things went well for you on that. Prosser Independent Trading says, hi all, can't stop along as early start, but thought I'd pop in and say hi. So that's my mail carrier. Hopefully Jenna's got the door. She's not feeling too well today. So we'll find out. The dogs keep barking after a few minutes. That means I'm going to have to get up and go do that. Let's see. What do we have here? Looking for new names if I can find it here. We have That Strangers in the house. Hello, everyone. We have Mark Suddick says, hello, all. Hit that like button and make money. John and Jenna guarantee it. Yes. So if you hit the like button within 24 hours, you're going to get a sale. I don't know how it works, guys. So many people just say, hey, you know what? It works. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just that good vibes, the good karma that, flows. I don't know, but give it a shot, hit that like button. And it you know what, by hitting the like button, it tells others that may not know about this channel, that we have a pretty good community here of resellers. And, it's our chance twice a week to get together and to, talk shop and try to help each other out. I think that's really important. One programming note before I forget to say anything is it's quite possible that there may not be a live stream on Friday. And I'll tell you, I may have to shoot on down to California to help assist with this whole pallet thing that's going on. Might have to just, between his truck and my SUV, They're small. They're small SKUs. I mean, the smallest one's the size of a baseball, a little bit bigger than that. So, in reselling, you gotta just sometimes make it work, and it isn't worth the. I think this to send 4 pallets worth of these things would cost every bit of $400, and that's shipping from LA to Las Vegas. So I'm not interested in doing that. I'd rather just spend $100 round trip, just in gas, and go down there and pick up as much of it I can. So we'll see, but I'll drop a community post if that's not going to happen. Let you guys know, and or I'll let you guys know when I put out the videos I put out during the week. Daniel Lesage, I think he's from Baton Rouge. Hi, John and Jenna. Hope that your weekend was great. After eBay, which platform would you add for a store selling general merchandise? That would be Mercari. If you're selling on eBay and you just want to get your stuff in front of other buyers who may not even consider eBay, maybe they had a bad experience with eBay, maybe, and that's quite possible. A lot of people do leave eBay when they have a bad experience. They still want to buy online, and then they go to a site like Mercari. I think also Mercari does tap in a little bit to the younger side of the reselling, but the buying crowd online. So that to me is a good starting point. And of course, you said general merchandise, but if you have clothing, definitely check out Posh. Now, I don't care what program you use, but if you're cross posting without a program, that's going to be a little bit more work than it should be. Whether you use I think we have Prime Lister is what we use. There's a link down below if you want to try it for 2 weeks. There's a free one on there. I don't know what it's called. And there's also List Perfectly. You can, utilize, and there may be one or two more that I haven't touched on, but they all generally do the same thing. If I'm being honest with you, some are a little bit more than others. The one that I like to use, Prime Lister, it has some extra tools like making bulk offers on Mercari, and also doing the same and sharing your closet automatically, and not having to go through that process of sharing your closet, which is a pain, which is why some people don't even bother selling there. So just something to look into. Let's see. We have Wanda Greer in the house. We've got Picky Ricky. Welcome, folks. Let's see. Picky Ricky says, hi, Prosser. All good here. Just about to list Monopoly Empire I bought today for 50 pounds. I paid only £6, which is like $6. Nice find. Yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty good. Awesome. Victor Wawiorka Jr. says, hey, John, I used Pirate Ship for the first time today. Thanks for suggesting it. I had to use it for return label that eBay initially screwed up. Yeah, it's always good to have that in your back pocket, have that site where you can go and get a label. Can't rely 100% on eBay to generate your labels, guys. If you're in a pinch, something's down, maybe eBay, a lot of times eBay will say, okay, you're paying for this label, we're going to charge you $15. And you're like, wow, this thing only cost me 10, right? You can go to a site like Pirate Ship, get your discount. Maybe they're trying to ship it through USPS instead of maybe FedEx, that type of thing, and it's causing the cost of the return label to be too high. You can go to a site like Pirate Ship and see if you can get a better discount. Now, there is a little message on e-commerce bites that was talking about how eBay plans to switch to FedEx for return shipping labels. And I did see on a recent return where it did tell me it was going to utilize FedEx, which I'm cool with, right? But maybe that doesn't work for a lot of people. Maybe like if we're talking about this, say 6 months ago, I would probably be like, I don't want to deal with FedEx. You guys know my problems in the past with FedEx. But now things have really changed for the better. Have a really good, really good relationship, friendship with my sales rep. Played some golf over the weekend, talk shop, that type of thing. And, I think FedEx is a pretty good carrier myself. It's always good when A, your packages get there and not beat up, right? And B, you're not getting hit with extra unexpected fees. And I haven't been hit with any, but of course I had to make some changes to avoid that from happening. So just to make you guys aware that, I haven't seen anything officially out from eBay, but according to e-commerce bites, it is something that looks like it's happening. And there's a lot of people that just would prefer not having to go to a FedEx location. It's a lot easier to have their carrier pick up the package. So we'll see. Stay tuned on that one. I'll try to confirm that because that's only one story by e-commerce bites, but nothing official from eBay. Kevin Hawthorne's from Lakeland, Florida. Thanks for being here, Kevin. We got Randy Hollingsworth. Thanks for being here, Randy. Ping G's with us here today. And Wanda says, let's see, I hope everyone is having a good day. Yeah, hopefully it's a good start to the week, guys. Again, good sales that have carried into today. So, nothing better than waking up to a bunch of sales. Now, I had someone who sent me a message like late last night, and it was like, I'm kind of winding down. I'm like, okay, everything's shut off, not dealing with eBay right now. And of course, here comes a message on my phone, and it said that they wanted 2 of an item that wasn't sure if I had 2 of, and they're wanting to make me an offer, and they didn't want to spend more than X amount for shipping. Well, if I'm into something for $10 and I have them listed for 90, I can go down to 70, right? Especially if I'm selling both of them, and I'm going to. These are larger boxes, but they're the same exact one. But it's like, okay, I'll be glad to sell you 2, but let me make sure I have 2. And it just so happened that I did have 2. I had one that was listed, one that wasn't. So we went in, and because I made her an offer, and the way I had it set up was, look, I'll go ahead and let you pay, because she wanted free shipping. I think she wanted 180 shipped for both of them. And I'm like, you know what? No, I don't do free shipping. Okay. Again, we do charge shipping. So I said, I'll do 140 plus 40. But the way she did it when she went to do the offer, she actually made me an offer for 1 of the 2 that I had, because I changed the listing for 2. So it's like, okay, I could tell this person it may be a little above their head. So I just wanted to make it easy. I said, look, no problem. I'll ship them together. 70 and 20 is what we'll do for each one. And she had to go back in and make an offer on the other one. So it worked out, but it was one of those things where, I'm sitting there waiting between replies. It's like past midnight, and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to keep doing this. She sent the first offer, which I accepted, but the second offer I didn't get till this morning. So she got it all paid for, and it worked out. But I mean, sometimes you have to take that extra step, be willing to work after hours, and to get that sale. And I think that's what I did. If I would have ignored her reply or her initial request and didn't go look to see if I had a second one, didn't go back and forth with her a couple times to make it work, I think maybe, just maybe, she would have tried to ask someone else, and that would have been a sale or a couple sales that I wouldn't have woken up to. So all's good. Good start for the week, that's for sure. We have Fisher Flips in the house. Good afternoon from Albany, New York. Flippin' Con Marco says, hey, FAE fam and John and Jenna, hope you had an awesome weekend. Pretty darn good, I'd have to say. Pretty darn good. Guy Guru says, hey guys, hey chat, hope everyone's sales are good. Mine are okayish. So Guy Guru, what is okayish in your definition? You guys know that my goal has always been to hit $500 in sales per day. Now, I can tell you that's kind of a high bar, but where I was, it was a really high bar, but where I'm at now, it's not that far out of reach. I had a $600 day on Thursday. I had a just under $500 day on Friday. A little bit under 500 day on Saturday, $380 day on Sunday, and today we're at 316. So just pretty smooth. I'll take that. Because again, it beats $50 and $75 days when you're full time. I'll tell you that. Guy Guru says hit the like button an hour ago and got 2 sales. That's really cool. That's awesome. So hit that like button, guys. I appreciate it. Callie Debs says, hi, everyone. Happy Monday. Yes. Thanks for being here, Callie Debs. Let's see. Flippin' Con Marco says, I think my previous message about the iPad and PSP Vita got deleted. Found them at the bins, but the cashier refused to sell them to me since they're high-valued items that would have been a good flip. Really? And so I guess that's why you went on to say something, and thus can't sell them. They didn't power on, but if they worked, that would have been an awesome find. And oh well, I didn't want to argue with the cashier. I would have. I mean, look, people will buy those for parts of repair. It's like, look, either, and that's probably why they were there, because they didn't work. But look, the cashier is there to do a job, right? It's kind of a conflict of interest for them to say, no, you can't have that. I mean, like, look, like at the bins, they tell you you can't buy helmets, right? That's because it's a safety issue. The helmet could have a defect. Someone puts it on and gets killed. They can sue, the bins or that store or Goodwill, wherever you found it. That's why they don't allow you to buy helmets at the bins, at least if they can see you buying a helmet. We pulled one off and actually did. We're able to get a helmet, but wasn't worth the squeeze on that at all. But as far as them finding items that you're selling and they would rather have it themselves, I would be like, look, either you ring me up or we're going to have to talk to somebody here. This is, I found it, a lot of those employees know that there's just a sea of merchandise. They don't want to look at that stuff themselves. I don't know if they get a chance to before or after the shift, but no, that's not right at all. I wouldn't have been happy with that. Edward McHugh says, hi from Central Florida. Could eBay going down the same road as Disney? No one can afford their products, hotels, and parks. No, I don't think there's a correlation there. I think it's more of eBay doesn't advertise like they used to. I can remember when eBay was, find it on eBay. I forgot the jingle, right? Maybe someone knows the jingle, but if you can't find it anywhere else, I remember people complaining that, that's like taking a back seat. But heck, I'll even take, if you can't find it anywhere else, check on eBay, right? Because maybe they're looking for that part that they can't find. You can't find it on Amazon. The only option is to buy it brand new or used. But I only need a part, right? I don't want to buy a brand new whatever because it's going to cost me so much more. And how about have an advertising campaign that really touts the fact that you can find anything that you're looking for the most part, on eBay. But it's now more focused. It's more, I don't even remember seeing a baseball card or a trading card one, but it's your sneakers, your eBay Motors, that type of conversation. But if someone's not in the market to pick up an alternator for their car, then they're not going to think, especially the newer generation that doesn't have the same experience with eBay that coming up as we do. Well, they're not even going to think about it, right? And I think eBay is losing buyers mainly because of that. It's almost like this. It's almost like the seller on eBay who refuses to promote. Okay, refuses to promote, and then they are wondering, well, why are my sales low, right? eBay is changing the game. They're wanting you to promote where they never really did before. Of course, promoting is fairly recent. Okay, so you're not doing that. And now eBay is changing the amount of times your item appears in search. Okay, you're getting less exposure because you're refusing to spend the money. And eBay is doing the same thing. They're refusing to spend the money to attract the newer crowd of buyers. And I think that's their biggest problem. Of course, that ranks right in my mind, right just barely above the old infrastructure, the problems and things that, I mean, how many times is a buyer going to be told they can't buy your item because of a site problem before they just give up, right? So that's right up there close, but I think advertising has a lot to do with it. She's not feeling it today, so she's taken the show off, but hopefully, you guys can get through without her. So yeah, we'll try again. Now Friday we're going to try to do it. If not, then we'll do it on Monday. A lot of it depends on what I'm able to arrange with these pallets, and I'm sure most of you guys can understand. At least I can hope that I am an eBay first and then YouTube second kind of a person. I don't know if that'll ever happen to where I will say I'm a YouTuber first that happens to sell on eBay, but eBay is the bread and butter. It's what really allows us to even have time to do the YouTube thing. And so it really depends on that. So, and I hate missing the lives, by the way. You guys know that. Yes. Hey, John, no Jenna. Not today, at least. Wanda Greer says, my health is the main issue holding me back. So I can see how that could really put a hamper into things, right? So considering putting your health concerns aside, though, based on what you're able to do, would you say that you're satisfied with the level of sales and listings and everything based on the time you're putting in? Is everything up to par with what you expect? So what I guess I'm saying is, if we can put the health issues aside, right? And that's something that really is out of your control. I mean, yeah, you can follow the doctor's orders and do everything they tell you to do, but on the eBay side of things, is there something that you can identify within eBay that's holding you back? I'm curious to know that. Raul Solis says, hello, John and everyone. Thanks for being here, Raul. We got Ed in the house. eBay doesn't control what it's put on their website. It's the sellers. It would be the sellers that price the heck out of some other of their items. So I know that I was checking out some comments before the live, and someone had said, hey, I really tried to price my items lower than my competition. I'm still not getting sales. What do I do? That kind of thing. Do I price my items up high? Well, I mean, if you price your items higher, but yet you're still not getting the exposure, you're not appearing high enough in a search, or maybe the buyer doesn't have any interest in your item, maybe it's just not selling like it used to, those things aren't going to really make that much of a difference. Now, of course, if you're promoting higher, I could see a strategy that where you're promoting higher, you up your prices a little bit so that A, you're paying for the promoted rate, and B, because a lot of people, most buyers don't want a high effort experience. They see that within the first 10, 15 items of their search, something fits what they're looking for at a reasonable price, they're going to take it. Okay. If you're stuck on page 3, a lot of buyers aren't going to spend that much time looking, for what they're looking for. They're going to find it before they get to page 2. So, if your listing isn't being promoted and you're trying to, unless you're looking for that price plus shipping buyer who's sorting their listings by that. But if, you got an unsuspecting buyer who is just allowing eBay to sort their search by best match, that could be a problem, right? So I would definitely look into promoting, but look, if you're promoting stuff that's not selling, it's kind of it's not a waste unless they buy it. You're not going to be paying the promoted rate, and not always either. Again, I'm going through, and I encourage a lot of you guys to go through your numbers, whether it's a spreadsheet or just kind of go and click through some of the sales that you've made. You're going to notice that on your listings that are promoted, there's probably going to be about 30 to 40% of your listings that just are going to have the final value fees without the promoted fees. There's a larger number than you, it's a larger number than you think. Most people are under the impression that once I promote, when that thing sells, I'm going to be paying, whatever that final value fee is plus the promoted rate that I'm choosing. And that's just not it. And I guess I'll spill the beans, I guess. But if you do a price plus shipping search, you're going to have your item shown twice in most categories. And if they click on that item and a lot of times that first listing is above the sponsored listing, the first listing has no promoted listing fee attached to it. They click on that and buy it. You're not going to be hit with a promoted listing fee. So I would really consider promoting if at all and or more. That doesn't work, start looking into selling something else. That's just and it sounds harsh. Like, look, I've got a lot of money invested in a lot of this merchandise. I get it. Don't stop selling it, but your new merchandise, start buying stuff that really, really has starts to sell. Biff says, I'm up to 35% over last year, so it's just time, and the occasional glitches holding me back. Okay. So time is understandable. I mean, the better you do, the more you run into time issues. I guess that would be the second thing that I'm running up against. If it wasn't for space and I had to answer that question, I would definitely say it's time, because, I find myself between like the stuff that I'm dealing with at YouTube, putting out videos and stuff, editing videos, um, trying to juggle that with, everything that goes into selling, picking up merchandise like twice a week, that type of thing. It just makes it so that sometimes I'm working, I get up in the morning and I'm working until 8 or 9 o'clock, if I'm doing everything properly, because you got to spend the time on the spreadsheet. At least you don't have to, but if you want to have a full understanding of, what things are selling well and what things aren't, I would highly suggest that you do some kind of accounting at the end of the day, or maybe weekly or even monthly. Let's see. Andy says, Andy and Diane in the house, the picture is my store. Okay. So what is it? RDs? RDs? Okay, very good to know. Duncan VR says eBay keeps suggesting a percentage higher every week, and say advanced promoted listings will bring 50% more sales. Are they holding sales hostage if we don't promote higher? You're just not getting the kind of boost that if you're sitting at 2%, right? I think the misconception, and I blame some of this on eBay for not really explaining themselves or explaining the promoted listing process a little bit more than they have. I mean, of course, they could be doing a lot of explaining on things they've been doing lately, but if you're hanging at 2% with the rest of the crowd that doesn't want to go above 2%, you're just a tick higher than those who don't promote at all. And if you find, and really it depends on where you find yourself in placement. If you're promoting at 2% and yet you're finding yourself on page one, high up on page one, then just stay where you're at. I mean, by adding more money to the pot, all you're going to do is maybe move yourself up a few spots, if that. So you really have to be familiar with where you're at on what page number. And I guess that's easier to do if you're selling in a niche than if you're selling everything like me. But I would focus more on your higher bread and butter items. Well, for a lot of people, it's the smaller items that are bread and butter, but your higher ticket items. Find out where you're at. Where am I at? If I go and search for this item right now, maybe you need to go sign in on a browser or go into a browser that's not signed in and do a search for your listing. See where you're at. And then it's time to really consider making some changes if you're not where you want to be in that search. But again, I think a lot of sellers are losing sales just simply because they're not on page one. And I think eBay does hold people hostage in the sense that, they have an agenda. Their agenda is to make money. And they are there. That's why they have it. If you go into a listing, just do a revision on a listing or create a new listing. That's why it is really like in bold, like near the bottom where the promoted listing is on the listing. Let me go to it real quick. It is in bold and they have it all highlighted that if you want to promote this right there, reach more buyers, 25% more clicks. Okay. And then underneath it, sell even more, 50% more sales. It's all in bold. Okay. It's there to get your attention. All right. That is what they're selling you on. It's no different than, buying some basic plan for something and they really promote the heck out of all the other features that get you to keep spending money. And if they can get people to spend more money, then they can make up for the loss of buyers and the loss of transactions. And I think they're doing a good job of convincing sellers that they need to keep doing it, because if you don't, you're not going to get the kind of sales. Now, I put out a video last week. When does it end? It's a good question. I don't know when it ends, but everyone's got to have their own line. And I think you got to be above 2%. I think for me, it's 10. I can afford with my sourcing to go higher than 10%, or actually right around 10%. I could go to 15, but for me, it's like, this is as far as I want to go. It's working for me. I'm doing right now suggested. A lot of categories are around 7%. Some are less, some are more. And I'm just going with the suggested rates for now. If I find that the rates are going over 10%, I'm just going to stop at 10. And everyone's got to make up that decision for themselves. But eBay is playing that game, and they hope that each and every one of you are going to continue raising the bar, right? So just got to be in tune with what you're doing, and don't just let it default, suggested, because in a year from now, we could be talking, if you're not at 10%, you're like at 5% or 2%. So I just don't know when it ends. I don't know when it ends in eBay's mind. It probably never ends. I don't think they'll be happy until they get almost all of what we have to profit from. Keenan says, bring our Barbie out here. Yeah, she's just not feeling well. She had last night a really, really big migraine, and she's a chronic sufferer. I think you guys know about that. So hopefully next time. Gray D says, appreciate your videos, John. Looking forward to watching the full stream later tonight. Your and James' videos have been very helpful during recent times on the Bay. Awesome. Gray, thank you for hanging out with us. Thanks for being here. I like seeing new viewers. Yeah, James' videos, it's one of those things where, he's really in tune with, a lot of the stuff in his account. And you have 40,000 items. You better be in tune with what you're selling. I like to do little experiments, and sometimes I'll put them on video. Sometimes I'll just do them to see what works. So yeah, I may not have all the answers here, but there's a lot of very knowledgeable people, especially in the lives, that, hey, you know what? I'm dealing with this issue. How do you handle X, Y, Z? And, I'm sure that we can get you an answer in most cases. Chad Baker Photography says, have your sales picked up since they implemented all the back end changes? I would say yes. Last, if I can get out of here real quick. I don't want to edit my listing without a need to do so. But if I'm looking at this here, oh yeah, I had a couple days that were kind of crappy, under $100 days, May 2nd, May 11th. And it was kind of just like a roller coaster, bunch of days over 250, some under 250. But since the 16th, it's great. So I tend to draw correlations between, changes and results. And it very well may be, because I haven't done a lot of changing. I'm still listing every day. I'm still selling the same kind of things I've been selling the last 2-3 months, but it seems to really have a positive effect. Now, one thing I want you guys to think about is also, if you have, let's say, an item that's been selling, or a type of item that's been selling prior to May, and then all of a sudden it just stops selling. Well, what I found was in, like with the toilet seats, you guys know that I've been selling the senior citizen toilet seat with the rails and all that stuff. I mean, I wasn't getting any sales for like a week, and that was like really weird. Okay. And I went into those listings and I'm like, wow, this isn't even the right category. So they eBay went in and changed my listing and for that type of listing, and changed them all to the wrong category. So as soon as I changed that to the proper category, of course, you're going to go back in, fill the item specifics out. I started selling them again. So yeah, a lot of people say, look, it doesn't matter what category you're in, people are going to search it, find the item they're looking for. But there is a correlation between having your item in the right category and getting sales, guys. So that's why, you may not have even noticed it. Look, my item specifics look fine, right? But you might have been placed in the wrong category. And there's a number of people that can attest in the past that, they're selling, certain type of collectibles, and it ends up in the wrong place where someone wouldn't even begin to think of looking for that type of item. So that's just something that I would recommend you doing, is on your slower selling things that were selling, but just stopped, check out those items. Guy Guru says, I'm actually about to bid on some stuff on high bid in 2 hours. I got to check that out. I'm not familiar with that site. Kimberly Sweet says, hey, John, GTSY, hello, mods for chat. I think you mean good to see you. I guess so. That looks right. Hello, mods, chat, everyone else. Well, thank you, Kimberly, for being here. A rural squirrel says, hey, happy Monday. Yeah, it's a good Monday. Getting kind of warm out here. So, of course, got the AC on. When I'm out in the garage working, I have a little portable AC, and that thing, it's working hard, but it ain't really doing a great job. And I can just imagine how it's going to be. It's right now, it's only 82 degrees outside. I can imagine what it's going to be here in a month or two when it gets really hot. Ed says, if you don't promote in a saturated category, then less likely your item will be viewed. In a non-saturated category, you'll be fine. She'll be back soon, Roseanne. Let's see. Ping G says, what is holding me back is motivation. Once I ended my $1,200 a month lease on warehouse space, I have no motivation to list. So, you were motivated when you had the warehouse space, but not so much. And could that be because just you're not making as much before you ended the lease for your warehouse? I just like to know, because someone that's actually looking at the idea of investigating the idea of maybe at some point doing something like that. Want to know maybe what happened, but in losing the warehouse space, you lost your motivation, and maybe you don't feel like it's on the right track, and maybe you're not as motivated. I think sometimes success motivates people. So, how do we get you to a place where you're more successful? I mean, are your sales good? Are they down a lot? Let's all try to figure this out collectively. So the great thing about having a community, I mean, look, you might be sitting here going, I had this warehouse and now it's in my house. I think I'm in a more appropriate setting with the type or the amount of items that I have, but now I just don't really want to do it. Maybe it's too comfortable. Maybe working from home, maybe getting out of your home and going to a warehouse. It's like I'm here. There's nothing else distracting me, like YouTube videos and other things that are easily accessible at home. Maybe, just maybe, that's the reason. Andy says, I hit the like button already. Sure need that sale. Yeah, guys, hit that like button. I guarantee that you're going to get your money back. The money you spent to hit that like button, which is zero. But hey, the reason why I say that, it used to be back at where I used to work, we'd bring in lunch for the employees, right? And so different committees, we'd figure out, okay, we're going to spend X, Y, and Z. We're going to do pizza for the employees, that type of thing. And then people would get there, and we'd have all kinds of different kinds of pizza. People get there and go, how come you didn't get this or that? Like they wanted to complain about, what they're getting. Like, I don't want that. I want that. Right. Or where we went to get the pizza. And it's like, I started telling people, if you don't like what, you're guaranteed to love your lunch. And if not, you're going to get your money back. Right. So that's kind of where that came from. Callie Deb says, the one thing that is really holding me back is that my buyers haven't been able to pay. The pay now button wasn't working. Yeah. And I know that there's buyers that had that glitch and, putting stuff in their cart or not allowing it to go any further. But I mean, heck, how about what we've been, talking about for the longest time? How about go to your awaiting payment under orders and tell me how many you have there? I had 6 on Friday. I have a different 6 today. Where is it at, eBay? Where is this instant payment thing? I know a lot of people have said, oh yeah, I got a lot more instant payments when, boom, send an offer. But it's like, it continues. And, just sitting here looking at it, and it's unnecessary. You're giving someone a deal and they're not able to cash in on it, or they're not willing to cash in on it. I had someone that sent me, they took an offer, and I was out and about. This is on Saturday night. A friend of mine came into town. We met up. We went and played a little cards. But I'm sitting there, and I got a message from a buyer after they had agreed. They had made an offer on my item, and I accepted it. And then they said, "Hey, love this item. I can't pay till the 1st, but I do want it." And I'm like, okay, no, I'm not going to hold it for longer than 4. I told them, I said, look, it's a great item, but I can't just have you sitting on it for a week and a half. You are welcome to check back when you're ready, but unfortunately, I can't hold it for more than 4 days. And if you needed a day or two after that, I probably could work with you. But we're talking. This was back on Saturday, so we're talking that would have been what, 11, 12 days? No, I ain't willing to do that. Fisher Flip says I average 30 to 40 sales in a weekend, and this weekend I only sold 12. Not sure what is up. Wow. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we had probably every bit of about 20 items that sold, but most of those are higher end items that had a higher ASP. I don't know. Can't really tell you. Would love to know what you sell. Ed says, my motivation deteriorated last week because personal life things came up again and that took priority over reselling. Sometimes things will get in the way. I do recall the days when I had, my kids are now older and out of the house, right? They have their own lives, they're adults. But I remember, when they were in elementary school and, junior high and high school where, things would happen, right? And that was the beautiful thing about doing it part-time, doing eBay part-time. I could take breaks, it's not gonna, because I had a full-time job. But family, and things like that, personal health issues, these are all things that are out of our control. And, that's why I think it's important to have things like drafts, have extra listings set aside so that if you get sick or if you have to tend to something, you can at least show eBay that love and that attention that it's looking for. So sorry to hear that, Ed. Hopefully things get better for you. Duncan says eBay glitches are designed to cost sellers time and money. Only eBay has so-called glitches. Been on eBay 2 decades. It's never been this bad. It hasn't. It hasn't been this bad. Casoso Collectibles. Hello, here for the first time for live. Well, thank you for being here. I love seeing new names. That's awesome. Awesome seeing you here. Guy Guru says, I made a mistake on some 84 McDonald's Olympic glasses. Old listing, had free shipping, went to Cali. Lucky they fit in a medium flat rate and made $1.50. Way better than a loss. Yep. There's been times in the past I've just, maybe due to my own carelessness that, had free shipping selected instead of calculated or whatever, and you lose money. Thankfully, with experience, you tend to not have those as often. Norman says, I think you meant to say, Norman Velez says, Ping, do you have a storage? So if you go from a warehouse to your home or whatever, do you happen to put it all in storage, that type of thing? Backyard Mowing says, any sales today? Something is up today. Well, you know what? Now that you mention it, most of my sales were this morning. And haven't really had anything since. So, yeah, got a question from someone, which I'm not going to bother with till this live is done. Biscuit Bus says, if we get 100 likes on the live, John will shave his goatee. No, that ain't happening. Yeah, it'll make me look younger, but I'm not trying to do that. The Mad Scientist says, always look for new products. Trends come and go. They do. And, things that were working for you 2 to 3 years ago, you can't say, okay, this is now my bread and butter from here on out, because the market changes. It changes a lot. Within 6 months to a year, the market can change on an item. Duncan says, cost of fees used to be 50% less 10 years ago. Just keeps getting more expensive in fees and other costs to sell on eBay now. You have to be able to cover costs. And that's why the more successful sellers are going to be able to win at the time they buy the item. Archie picked up and I questioned this too. We were at a yard sale a couple weekends ago, and he picked up this, was it Turbo? It wasn't the tax program, but it was, he sent me a little reminder today on how well he did with it. He likes doing that kind of thing, but it was I'm sure he'll tell you in chat, and I'll read it in about a half an hour. A QuickBooks program from like 2006 or something, 2016 or something like that. And I'm thinking, well, I mean, there's newer versions of it out now, but he bought it for $2 at a yard sale, and he just sold it for 60 or 70 bucks. So if you're into that, that's after fees is like a 25x flip. You got room. You have room to work with. You have room to promote higher. You have room to give discounts, like in a coupon or a markdown sale. Whereas someone who's into that same thing they picked it up for 15 to 20 bucks, thinking they got a good deal, right? Yeah, they can sell that for $69.99, but you don't have the same kind of room that Archie does. So it's very, very important that we combat these increases by, sourcing better, and I know there's people who buy stuff that I would be like, wow, how do you make money? I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I would be able to do this business if I bought at, let's say more than 20% of whatever I'm going to be able to sell it for. It's just one of those things where you really have to do the math. And I always tell myself when I get into that situation, is the juice worth the squeeze? Yeah, I know I can get 40 for this. I can pick it up for 15 or 20, but do I really want to be into something for 15 or 20, sit on it just so I can make, 20 bucks, maybe after it's all said and done? Let's see. No one designs says, John, I don't know your property space, but if you have the land space, might want to look into a decent sized shack, spend a few bucks to seal it up and run electric for AC lights. I was looking at that actually, of putting a little shed out and back. I mean, we have a concrete area, a large concrete area back in the back yard. Um, I may just, I don't want to get into the mindset of where I'm getting like a little shed and I'm putting stuff back there and um, have it because it rains, it gets real nasty out here. And I know that, a lot of these sheds are weatherproof and that type of thing. But, I just don't want to put my stuff outside. Just me, I don't want to put my stuff out there. I mean, I was thinking about maybe putting a couple of these pallets under a tarp out there for now, but to invest in a large shed, that type of thing. And we rent here, right? So, the goal is to be here as long as we got to be here. I mean, heck, for years. But if I ever move, let's say I decide to get a place, buy a place, when the market calms down, it's one of those things where is this shed that I buy that fits well here, is it going to fit well where I buy, or is it going to limit my options? So I don't know. I just, it's a good suggestion, but, it says might be cheaper than renting out a warehouse lease. But the idea of a warehouse lease, it would really get me to a place where, like there's many times I'll pass up stuff. I'm sourcing all the time. I source every day. And I'm like, yeah, I got enough of those, and I'm being held back because I don't want to stock up and use up my space for other things that I get additional SKUs in, because you have, let's say 10 of one item, that's great, right? But if you're not selling that as fast as you want to, and I can have 10 different items that, I'll sell 4 or 5 of those, whether I'll just sell 1 or 2 of these within that 1 week. I want to maximize the amount of sales that I'll get within the type of space, which limits me. If I'm sitting on product that ain't moving so hot and I still can get a good deal on it, I'm going to pass. And a warehouse, a large space like that would allow me to really just say, okay, I can hold on to 20 of these and have plenty of room, and it's not going to get in my way. Straight West says, I sell collectible media for a living because it's small and easy to store it away. I stay away from big box items. Every seller is different. And that's the key right there. It's storage, right? You sell small items because A, it doesn't take up a lot of space. You can maybe use a room or your garage. B, it's not going to cost a lot of money. So you have to take a return and pay that money back. Well, okay. So you paid $5 for shipping. Okay. Better luck next time. Whereas I just shipped an item this morning for $65. And that's with my discount on FedEx. eBay was going to charge like, I think 80. So it's, who wants to have that risk, right? So that's why a lot of people would rather, and for many years, that was my mindset. That was my business model. Let's focus on smaller things, but you're really limiting yourself. Norman says, my sales have skyrocketed in the last 30 days and they've studied day every day, have been studied day every day. Well, that's the key. You want to find, and you must be selling items that are selling right now. And I think if you've surveyed and actually had a chance to look at the stores of people who are still saying their sales are tanked, there's an answer there. There's an answer. Could be the item you're selling, could be your account health, could be the listing quality, could be a lot of things, could be your prices. And I see that every time I look at the store, I'll see that kind of thing. And it's like, okay, these are the reasons. Now, people don't want to be, they don't want to face those facts. Unfortunately, sometimes you bring that to them and say, okay, here's what I'm seeing. They don't quite like the answer, but there is an answer there. You just have to look deep enough and be willing to accept the answer when you find, I'm priced too high. Ed says, what's going on? Going to help me in 2 months is that my daughter got accepted into early education. So for 3 hours, my GF is free. My girlfriend is free. She'll take pictures of my smaller items and it'll free up my time for shoes. Yeah. But you have to navigate around things that get in your way. So whatever's holding you back. So, okay. So like in Ping's situation, he had to downsize to I guess to his house, right? Let's just say that's what's happening. A storage unit is certainly an alternative. If I had a storage unit, I mean, it's an extra expense. I just don't want to have to deal with going back and forth to the storage unit when I want to pull something to list, or maybe even there's people who store things on racks and they're like, okay, I sold it. I'm gonna go to the storage unit and pick it out. I don't want to do that. I want to either spend 8 hours of my day at a warehouse, and run that whole operation, or just do it from home. But maybe that'll work for Ping or something. But we're navigating, because life changes, guys. Your situation now is not going to be the same situation in 10 years. So you got to navigate and do your best, make it work, right? Maybe that means you're not doing as much, but at least you're still trying to make it work. Let's see. Edward McHugh, having one arm and diabetes. So basically health, it's me 78 and just doing it part-times, give me something to do. I make $3,000 to $4,000 monthly. So that's awesome. The bottom line though is, look, I think sometimes we can think of that as being in the way. And I guess supposedly it can be. I mean, health certainly is out of your control, but I mean, look, you're making it work despite all that. So, good on you for that, for making it work despite that. And I can tell you there's people out there who would use that right there as a reason to do zero. Okay. So I think that's really awesome that you're able to make that kind of money on eBay despite having those obstacles to deal with. So that's really, really good. Norman says, finally made it to your live. Keep missing it. Well, thanks for being here, Norman. I appreciate it. LSGS Rob's a shame on you, John, for sourcing items that sell quickly for good money. What's holding me back is time. Just started a new business and didn't think it would take up a lot of time, but I thought wrong. And that's just it, time. I think sometimes you think of, the phrase that just drives me crazy, but I'll say it. I think it's a thing like the younger generation likes to focus on, and that's work-life balance. Okay, I guess it's definitely a thing. It's something, it's probably important, right? Maybe I need to do better with it. But at the same time, I don't want to lose my momentum either. And time is you only have 24 hours in a day. I always joke with people that, hey, if I had 28 hours in a day, man, things would be so much better, but we don't. We only have 24. And you better get some sleep. You can't be working, you cannot be burning the candle at both ends, because it's going to hurt your health in the long run. So you got to manage your health, you got to manage your time, and that is probably if I had a warehouse, we'd be talking the same thing that Rob's talking about right here. Picky Ricky says, found for my first 4K Ultra HD film today, but it was only La La Land. Royal Squirrel says, thanks Archie for the new message. Got my notifications set now. Thanks Archie for helping out in the chat. I appreciate that. Mike says, time is my biggest problem. Never enough time in the day to do everything I wanted to do. Ping says, when I had the warehouse space, went almost daily to take photos, shipping, etc. Now everything in garage, living room, family bedrooms just can't get moving. And I'm willing to bet though, because that's a thing that we deal with here. Got distractions. There's distractions. Even I'm distracted. And I know for a fact that if I had this move to another operation, we can really kickstart this thing. But you get to where it's working, right? You get kind of complacent almost. Norman says, first yard sale in 8 months, get to Cool Pixels, 300 camera for $15, sold each for $99 plus shipping. There you go. Ed said, is there going to be a stream on Monday, Memorial Day? You know what? I'll let you guys decide that. I'm down. I'm probably just gonna have something on the barbecue going anyway. So I'm down. But let me know if you guys want that down below, and if we get enough people that want to, then I'm good with it. Or we can just do it on Tuesday. If you guys rather do it Monday or Tuesday, let me know. PTS Treasures, I just crossed the 6-month mark of reselling, had our best weekend ever. This whole last week, actually, what holds me back right now, I'm still learning. So the learning curve. So what that answer right there is probably going to change. If I had to ask again next year, you're probably going to have a different answer. So yeah, I think sometimes we're limited into what we know, and I'm learning all the time. I mean, I didn't know I was going to have this kind of success with the larger stuff. I didn't. So, I wish sometimes we wish we knew what we know now back then, and made those adjustments back then. Duncan hit the like and got 2 sales. That's awesome. Ashley says, I mostly do beauty, jewelry, and toys, but have been branching out to ephemera the past year. Bought a lot of paper for $5, break down 25 cents per piece, sold a letter in less than an hour for $45. That's awesome. And as long as there's a market for it, and that's just the key. A lot of people buy stuff they like or think is cool, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, especially if you're doing that as a hobby or on the side, maybe you're doing this in addition to working full time, that type of thing. But if you rely on this for your income, the cool things to sell are nice, right? But and I don't know how well you're doing with the ephemera, but for me, that's why I sell everything. That's why I'm not in a niche. I don't want to be stuck with stuff that's no longer selling now. So it's easier to gravitate from, okay, this ain't selling so hot anymore, but I'm only into a few pieces. I can get going on to other stuff. And that's why, look, that's why I'm a big proponent of selling everything, especially when you're first trying to figure out what, if you're new. But if your sourcing is limited, you have a better chance of getting everything, when you're going out and about to find stuff than to find ephemera, when you go to the swap meet. Maybe you'll find it, maybe you won't. But yeah, I think that's really cool. Sue says, hi from Indiana. I have trouble with motivation. Can anyone recommend motivated speakers I can listen to? Well, there's maybe even some audiobooks. I have some audiobooks that I listen to, but I can tell you that each and every person is a little different. I think sometimes it's even motivational to have friends. We talk about being on the eBay island, and that's when you're doing this whole eBay thing by yourself and not having anyone to talk to, learn from, vent to, that type of thing. So maybe meeting some people that do this, and or in your area especially, and developing that friendship that gets you motivated. Kind of get each other kind of motivated to keep going and not give up. Chad Baker says, for short-term storage on large items, I use a storage unit on a monthly basis when needed. I just picked up some medical equipment and it didn't want to take a trip over my office until it sells. Yeah, it's something I'll think about, but the idea of going back and forth to a storage unit, it's not something that I'm looking forward to. Ashley says, Duncan is super interesting. I'm falling in love with it, and the space and lack of space takes up is great. And that's the thing. I mean, again, if you enjoy it, if your sales are meeting your expectations, you just love doing it, don't change anything. Keep doing what you're doing. Callie Deb says, Posh has been on fire if you've been clothing and hard goods. So yeah, I do agree. Posh has been pretty solid as well. Andy's in the house. Thanks for being here, Andy. Let's try to, I'm known for kind of falling behind in these live streams, and this week is no exception. So I apologize for that. Thriftaholic for you all sorts says, just sold some butterfly brass bookends for $65 as soon as I hit the like. Wow, that's awesome. Hit that like button, guys. Andy says, the problem with FedEx is the person is returning something, they won't care how to ship it. They'll put it in a poly bag or whatever, and they'll have not have a cardboard box. Now, they do that. That's a problem. In fact, if you supply someone with a return label and it's FedEx, they send it poly bag, just know you're going to get hit with the surcharge. And of course, don't think for a second eBay is going to eat it. Okay, especially if you're buying the label through eBay, you think, okay, they quoted me $15. That's what I'm going to be paying. But if FedEx slaps that surcharge on it, eBay's passing that on to you. You're right. That is a big problem. I would get out in front of it. If they send you something like, look, I sent this to you in a box, you send it back to me in a poly bag, I'm going to get hit with a higher return fee. I would proactively deduct. I think the additional fees that they charged me was around $18 every time they caught on to that. I mean, they didn't always catch it, but if you get a return like that, I would put that in there with the reason and let them deal with eBay. eBay is good at making the buyer whole, no matter how bad they are. They can send you a brick back, and they can complain to eBay after you've taken the 50% off, and they're going to get their money back. Let's see here if I can get some more people here. Got Wine Night. Thanks for being here today. Hi, hanging out, watching the show. My son and I are reselling partners. We are part-time, working to go full-time, hustling every day. That's awesome. It is a hustle. It is a grind. But the key is to finding out how to enjoy it. Now, I got to tell you, back in 2018, I remember I bought and don't laugh, guys. I remember I bought my first bulk liquidation palette. Okay. And it was a little of everything, a lot of Target returns and stuff in there. Had a couple good items, but once I got past the couple good items, I'm like, I don't want to do this. This sucks. Okay. And this is when I was full-time. I still had my full-time job. I wasn't motivated at all. So it just, I don't know what happened. Maybe 2019 being such a good year. I really started to love doing it. I guess because I was selling things I enjoyed to sell that were really selling well, like electronics. And, I can go back to selling if I had to, selling the kind of things that I was really not wanting to bother with. And I would still enjoy it, if that makes sense. So it's, you tend to change over time, but I'm doing what I enjoy doing. I mean, I'm too old to be a professional sports player like I wanted to do as a kid, right? So that ain't happening anytime soon. So within my ability, I would say I'm doing what I want to do. And, you just got to find what makes you happy. And if you're happy doing that, it's a lot easier to go full time. I can tell you that. Let's see. Thriftaholic says $7.50 transaction fee. eBay fees are horrendous. Yeah, they get up there, especially when you're doing your spreadsheet. You see, well, I sold this item for $150, but you're spending like what, $30 in fees between the promoted listings and the final value fee. Yeah, it's like, wow, they took a lot, but you see that margin you still have. I think I'm around 50% still. How many people actually out there keep track of their margins? And if you do, how far has it fallen since the promoted listings have been launched? Ed says, sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and with offers, I respond to them even if I'm half asleep, because look, that person's shopping now. Okay. And if your store ain't open, I say open because, it's like if your store is just self-serve only and there's no one to ask questions to, they might move on. Okay. And there might be someone up at 3 a.m. That might be when they do their eBay, and they're there to answer the question and get the sale. Randall says, got blindsided by eBay on Saturday when they dropped the auto relist on all 250 of my auction listings. No notification. I'm also limited to 62 free listings a week from now on. Wow. So I'm wondering, I would be on the phone with eBay saying, what's going on here? You guys got to work with me. SMKUR50 says, I call my small sales chings and my big sales chongs. It's funny. I was playing poker on Saturday night at South Point Casino, and I won 2 pretty good sized pots, right? This is pretty funny. So as soon as we flip over our cards of the first hand, right? My phone goes off with the cha-ching. I won the hand. And then like an hour later, right? I'm raking in the money from a pot, and the phone goes off, cha-ching. I thought it was the funniest thing. It was really cool. Wasn't planned, but it was really cool. The whole table was like going like, where do I have my sound effects when I win a pot? So it was pretty funny. Edward says, please don't mention eBay advertising because that's the next fee we'll have to pay if we want them to advertise. Yeah. I mean, really, they really need to get someone in there that's understanding that they can't keep hoping that the same old eBay crowd is going to be the ones to bail them out. You have millions of new people who don't have any clue. They're tuned in to sites like Mercari, Grail, Depop, whatnot, and that's where they're looking at. And eBay is, I wouldn't say, yeah, they're losing buyers, but they're losing potential buyers that have never signed up because they're just not advertising to the right crowd, I think. So I don't know how eBay is going to do it, but they really need to focus on their properly advertising. Thriftaholics is killed yesterday with my niche. Found 6 Psycho Bunny polo shirts, 3 pairs of Psycho Bunny shorts for $10. All of them also found an Evan Longoria jersey for $10 and a bunch of other stuff. Well, that's really cool. That's really cool. See if I can get down here. We got Lee Hayes one, killing it today. Best day in 3 weeks. Love to hear that. Love to hear what you're selling too. So if you want to report, hey, I'm having a great day today, or maybe I'm not having a good day, put in the comment, hey, I'm not doing so great last 3 weeks or whatever. Selling mostly whatever. It would help kind of know what what you're doing a little bit without looking at your store and all that. Andy Reno says, I'm approximately 2 hours away from the closest liquidation place and no flea markets out here. Very few garage sales. So that makes it really, really tough, right? Maybe check out a Goodwill online kind of thing. I hear people that have success. I think someone else mentioned High Bid, that type of thing. Sandy McNair says, high shipping. A buyer wanted me to mail 4 magazines by media mail. I said no. They complained about shipping cost. Yeah, if any publication has advertisements in there, like a magazine, you can't send it by media mail. Well, don't feel bad. I had someone on Mercari leave me a bad review because I refused to ship her item, her 4 mat. It's like those memory foam bathroom mat sets. She demanded that I lower the cost by shipping it media mail. We're not shipping that media mail. And then left me a review saying, seller is clueless. I tried to help, but would not listen. Okay. So don't feel bad about that. Drain the Swamp 2024. I need to refresh the store. It's been a year since I listed. Yeah. You got to get, you don't have to list every day, but if you list periodically, I would say, maybe once every other day, followed by daily. I'm always answering my questions. I'm always sending out offers. And maybe, once or twice a week, you're getting in there and you can do a store refresh by doing a bulk edit. And that helps too. Guy grew us a source on Whatnot, maybe, or High Bid as some auctions that have shipping options. So that's something to consider. Callie Deb says, I think there are too many glitches on eBay. Fortunately, 2 buyers reported issues to me this weekend because they wanted to buy my items and couldn't. Isn't that frustrating? We do everything we can. We're present. We're there to answer our buyers' questions. We help them through if they're having problems. But the simplest of things, what eBay infrastructure is keeping people from buying our items. So what do? They go somewhere else. They go to a different site. They go to Mercari. They go on maybe to Amazon, and they spend a few bucks more, or maybe it's not exactly what they wanted. Maybe they wanted your item, but they had to settle for something different. And guess what happens? You lose out on the sale. That's so frustrating. Goanna says, you're 100% correct. Bottom line is quality and demand items sell and garbage sits. It does. And I think for some, it's not checking comps, thinking how cute, how this thing is so cute. Well, you know what? You might think something's cute that someone's like that. I wouldn't buy that if you paid me. So let the market speak for what you buy. That's why it's so important. You know for a fact. If you're not looking at your phone, you should know that I've sold this here very recently. I don't need to look at my phone to know what this thing sells for. But if you're stumbling across something that, wow, this looks promising, well, let the market confirm that it's promising. Don't just take a chance. I mean, yeah, if you're buying it for $1 or $2, right? But if you're spending anything more than that per item, then you really need to know what you're buying. And let's see, Andy says part-time. That's what I'm doing right now. The shipping is going up and it's not a lot left on the bone. So that's the key. How do we get more meat on the bone so that when, the fees go up, or you want to introduce a coupon or markdown sale, how's it going to look like when you make the sale? I mean, nothing worse than making a sale and you go, wow, I could have just threw this in the trash because I made nothing on it. SMKR 50 says quality listings sell themselves. Yes. Thriftaholic says maybe eBay should lower the transaction fees some, and I would think about promoting higher. That ain't happening. eBay is not lowering anything anytime soon, unfortunately. SMKR 50. I wonder if having my international shipping is hurting me. Well, the video I did was a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. If you have been opted in and you've maybe you're doing domestic only, but now because they've opted you in, you're getting some of those sales, or at least you were. I got to tell you, for some, turning it off, opting out has helped their sales like within hours. For me, wasn't getting anything, decided to opt out. And that afternoon, my sales were normalized. And look, it's been great for this month for the most part. So I'm just one person, just reporting what my findings are. But if you go to that video and check out the comments, there's so many people that had the same thing to say. Wanda says my store has almost 1,500 items, but sales could always be better. I have 18 items promoted, and those are the things that do not sell. So yeah, if those 18 don't sell, I don't know, maybe, and you have 1,500 items. So, you're doing well then. If the other items are selling and just the 18 are just kind of sitting there, maybe just remove the promoted listings altogether. Monster Loons here. Thanks for being here. A little bit late, but hey, it's cool. I'm 45 minutes late reading your comments. So, who am I to speak? Steve Pace Poste says, I started wearing a hat backwards to be more like you. If you're going to help with the thinking. No. Look, I'll wear it forwards then. I mean, I'm just saying, I just kind of switch it up here. I just throw a hat on, and the hat backwards forward thing is just, if I'm being real with you guys, it's just me being lazy. You don't want to mess with my hair. That's all it is. But that's my comfort zone. I wear hats like really often. I wear a hat like every day. Fisher Flips, I sold more on Poshmark than I did on eBay. That's a major problem. It's a problem, but one that I'm sure can be solved. It sounds to me like you're selling a lot of clothes and shoes. My shoes aren't selling like they were, say, back in January, February, maybe into to March. The shoes are slowing down for me, and that's fine because I might sell a pair here and a pair there. I think we sold one pair over the weekend. We still have a lot of shoes. It's one of those things where maybe in addition to what you're selling, you just try to find something that's going to sell better than, on eBay, at least, than what you're finding right now. And I think for a lot of people, that's the toughest thing, just making that move. Like, I don't know if I want to sell a toilet seat, right? I mean, especially don't sell a used one, though. That's for sure. That's not good. Prosper says, I'm so happy I quit eBay. No more eBay headaches. And funny enough, since I completely stopped on eBay, I have done my best month to date, and not to mention the money saved and all the fees. So Prosper, wondering, where are you selling at? Maybe you've said that before, but I'm curious, what kind of items are you selling and where are you selling? Randall says, and if DeSantis will make sure that if you go to Florida high school, you'll be taking remedial course when you go out state for college. Not going to call him any names, but, don't want to comment too much on that kind of stuff because that isn't really tied to reselling. Guy Guru says, John tried that. I didn't help him. I think he even went to like 80%. So you tried that and it didn't help. Got to go back to see what you tried. 2%. Okay. So you tried maybe promoting at a higher rate, I think. Woody Hayes says, don't promote, just start selling on other platforms. Mercari, Poshmark, Facebook Marketplace, Amazon, etc. eBay wants sellers racing to the bottom for slim profits. Make eBay compete with other platforms. I agree with you to a small percentage there. I definitely do think that it's a very good idea if your sales are slow to find a way. Don't care what tool you use, but use a tool. There's one down below, but that's up to you. Find a way to get your items onto other platforms, to get in front of other people. And I know the worry, the worry that a lot of people have is, well, I can't have my items selling on both platforms. Well, let's face it, if that was a problem, if that was a real problem, you wouldn't even be thinking about cross posting, right? Your items are selling that well on eBay, then you'd keep it on eBay. But for a lot of you, and I was in this boat like last year and into early this year, um, if an item is in my eBay store for 30 days, it ain't hot. Okay. So it's time to think about moving it over to another platform and keep it on eBay and, have that 30-day rule. After 30 days, before this thing recycles itself on eBay, I'm going to go in and add this to these sites. As soon as it sells on these sites, you immediately, whether it's on your phone or on your computer, delete the item off of eBay, right? And vice versa. If it happens to finally sell on eBay, go on these other sites and delete it on these other sites. And if the rare occasion happens to where I sold it on this site, I sold it on eBay, well, eBay wins. And the reason why, I don't even care what it sells for. eBay wins that battle between the two because unfortunately, eBay is more punitive when it comes to canceling sales due to being out of stock. And I'm not going to hurt my eBay account because I cross-posted. Now, how much does it hurt these other sites? I found, like on Mercari, on the few occasions it does happen, I don't notice much at all. I've had it happen on Poshmark before. It doesn't seem to have a big impact. So for me, that's the strategy, and I think it's a good one. It works, but that's why you got to really be on top of your account and everything. Biff says categories matter a lot. When eBay created new categories in collectibles on October 2021, things got thrown into wrong categories and sales tanked until I corrected them. And I think for some people that it happened to me recently on some items, not all, but some items. Thankfully, I'm not selling like 250 different types of toilets or safety aids, right? For me, it just affected a handful of my items. But once I fixed those, it did make a world of difference. We have Royal, I always get that wrong, but hey there, avoid the fixed cost of a warehouse as long as you can. Some point maybe you'd benefit from it, but keep that hurdle down as long as possible, right? So keep your costs down. That's what has prevented me. I know Archie approached me a couple of years ago saying, hey, that'd be a great idea. And at the time we're getting in pallets, right? That's taking up even more room. And yeah, on paper, it's a good idea. But then you start looking at the numbers, the sales, you're even more reliant on your sales day to day than you are if you just keep your expenses low. So that's what's kept me really from doing it. Yep, got the Angels gear today. Just had it on backwards. Silver hairs with the silver hair stacker. My sales are okay, but let's work on my personality. I think your personality is fine. Personality is fine. Junkie Trader, haha, Todd. Thanks for being here. Cassandra says motivation. I heard a saying one time: if anything is worth doing, it's worth doing halfway. Maybe just start by taking photos, then list the next day. You just got to get started. It's just like anything else. Like you wake up this morning and if you allow the thought of, now this is aside from if you're sick, if you're not feeling well, it's totally different. But if you just wake up, it's a normal day and you get up and go, I'm not really in the mood to list today. Don't let that thought creep in your head. Okay. That is the worst thing you can do. That sets the wrong tone. Find something that can keep you focused. Like for me, it's music. Throw music on while I'm listing, and it's like I'm in a zone now. Okay. Without it, it's kind of you're in your own thoughts, and sometimes that's not a good thing. But get the music going. People aren't around within earshot, and you can't sing. Don't worry, sing. Right. That's what happens with me, and I haven't had any complaints yet. Mel Martin says, thank you, John. Well, you're welcome. I don't know what I did, but you're very welcome. I appreciate you being here. And I am trying to catch up. I think I'm kind of doing it, but I'm not. Silver Hair says, John, online poker Friday night won $2,500. Awesome. I won like $180. I played for like 2 hours. So that was kind of cool. Wasn't great. Won a couple pots. then the last hour, I couldn't get cards to save my life. So I didn't lose a whole lot. Midwest Picker says, I'm trying not to promote as much to see how it does. This weekend was so dead. So that's just it. You can do experiments. Now, I mean, some people just don't have, I don't have, like for me, if I did an experiment that totally wiped out my sales, it would suck because I'm full time. But if you have the means to do it, take a week, take a couple weeks, stop promoting if you're promoting. If you're stuck at 2%, try 10%. I mean, we don't want to give eBay any more money than we have to, but I think you'd be okay with giving eBay more money if your sales were rolling in. And then try it without promoting, see what the results look like. Do the same things other than that. You're doing everything the same except the level you're promoting. Find what works and see if there's a big difference. If there's not a big difference, then, I guess promoting for some people does, and promoting for some stores don't make sense. I've seen stores that, they're not up against high competition. They don't have maybe they have a lot of high demand stuff. You have an iPhone, you don't need to promote an iPhone, just have a good price and a good photo, make it what people are looking for. They just want a phone that's going to replace theirs, their lost or stolen or broken phone. You don't need to promote an item like that. Dr. Green Thumb says eBay is broken again. Well, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. We have some new glitches. I feel like for me, it's been kind of glitch free over the last week. But I'd like to know what you've experienced, what maybe you came across. Jonathan Rivera says, what's up, John? Was nice meeting you at the Trash to Cash meetup. Well, nice to meeting you too. Okay. I'm seeing your photo now. I recognize you. Okay. So awesome. Thanks for dropping by. That's pretty cool. And don't be a stranger either. Come on and hang out with us. We've got Roman. John is less viewers a day without Jenna. Even Tommy didn't show up. I know. What is that about? I mean, come on. I mean, do I have to throw a wig on or what? I mean, I don't know. Yeah, we'll get her back on. Biff says, I wouldn't store things outside in Vegas, even the garage, iffy for things like records. Yes. Yes, and yes on that. So, it may be, and that's a very good point. It may be, I have to get some more racks, and like you see, like to my, wrong side. This is backwards, by the way. Whenever I look a certain way, I'm actually looking the opposite way. So over here is the closet area for this room, and I may just have a rack right here that I put into place and pull some of those things that, like the records that we're sitting on, it's on the other store. So, or maybe I just blow them out before it gets any hotter. I don't know. Ferret fan says, sorry I'm late, been on a roll listing and just realized what time it is. Yeah, it's like, oh no, I'm missing the live. But thanks for being here. That's cool. Doing Designs says, put a carport over the shed if you want extra peace of mind. I don't think you need it, but And then No One Design says, oh wait, John won't get to this chat until 2 hours later. Never mind, scratch that. Hey, I'm trying. Okay, there's just a lot of good talking points here. Dr. Green Thumb says some people want actual software programs and not cloud services, which is what everything is now. You pay hundreds after a few years of monthly charges. Yeah, I just like when it comes to doing my accounting, I just think Excel. You just let Chat GPT, even if you have like limited knowledge on how to program a macro, like let Chat GPT kind of help you through it. I mean, that's what was able to help me put mine together. Let's see. Roman says, John doesn't have to read comments. He will have still have over 200 viewers. I think it's amazing to me. I mean, even at 160 right now, I think it's really amazing. I think also what drives people to the program is just the topic. I mean, how many times you clicked on a video and went, this is clickbait, right? I don't know. I try not to do that, even though sometimes I realize after the fact, yeah, it was kind of clicky. William Pullen says, I've got a guy that says I sold him a product with missing pieces and demands I send him return label. I said, issue a return. He only want to call me names and hasn't issued a refund. Can he after 30? I don't know if you've continued, but if you sold a product to somebody and they claim that there's a problem of any kind, You basically say, look, I don't do partial refunds, because you can kind of tell if someone's fishing. They throw that line out there and they're waiting for that bite, right? And they do it because it's worked before, right? So they know that, oh, I could just complain loud enough and this person doesn't want to be bothered with the return, and they'll offer me money to go away. But simply, I would just say, let's just keep it simple here. Unless you can identify, oh, I screwed up, I have the part right here, right? Either send them the part if you can find it. Maybe you have an extra cable or whatever, or a missing piece for that, or just say, look, we don't do partial refunds. So we're glad to take a return if you're not happy, even if you, and I hope you guys do take returns, because it doesn't make sense not to. But even if you have buyer pays returns, just tell them to open a return. And even it means you're paying for a return label. It's the cost of doing business. If you're doing this enough throughout the year, that return label at the end of the year, you reflect back on that $20 return label you paid for, and look at what you made. It ain't gonna break the bank. I'm promising you that. So get the item back. Put the onus back on the buyer. Now look, the buyer's in the position where they're hoping for a partial refund. Now you've called their bluff. Either they're going to keep it, they're happy with it, they can make it work, or they're going to send it back. And if they send it back, make sure it's in the same condition. Make sure, like I remember sending that cable, he didn't send it back. Then you deduct from the refund. Okay. So you put the onus back on the buyer, and just take your lumps. I mean, I have an elliptical machine that I sold. It was in great condition. Okay. Perfectly padded up and everything. I'm thinking that maybe the carrier dropped it. Okay. Because the LCD screen has a crack in it, and it wasn't there when we sold it, because the photos we have were perfect. It didn't have any LCD issues. She immediately opened it, said, hey, I'm going to open a return because, this is broken. And so I'm going to have to deal with just taking the return, right? Selling for parts or repair, making, a little bit. I might still make money on it, guys. I think I'm into it for $15. I might be able to sell it for 30 plus shipping, instead of the 80 something dollars I sold it for initially. Maybe people don't care as long as it works. They keep it underneath their desk while they're working to exercise, and they don't care if they see that, oh, I've been pedaling 20 times. I don't think sometimes people care about the small things like that. So I'll just take it, and I'll still make some money. Thriftaholic says, I see nothing wrong with going high on price with best offer, as majority of buyers on eBay are pretty savvy to the point they can look up your solds anyway, see if you take offers. I think so too, but I think that the majority of buyers aren't savvy like that. I think you have a good percentage that are savvy like that. Like how many people out there will, I'm bad. Like on Amazon, I'm looking to try to buy something. I will read the reviews, like to see if there's anyone that's like had a problem with this thing. And the moment I come across a couple people saying the same thing, boom, I'm out. Maybe I'm the only one, but I'm bad like that. I don't know why. Ferret Fan says, I'm looking at this season of slow sales and inconsistency with eBay as a time to improve my entire operation, improving my listings, improving the quality of what I'm sourcing, and selling what sells. Yeah. And that's all you can do, right? You're doing those things, and maybe changing what you're selling if what you're sitting on isn't selling. I stress that. I know a lot of people are tired of me saying that, but there's nothing truer than that. Why do we keep trying to do the same thing over and over again, or sell the same thing over and over again, and get the same results as we've been having? I can point to a number of things that I sold that did well in 2019 that if I tried to sell now, maybe not doing as hot, like an Xbox controller mod, which I was selling like hotcakes. Mel says, hey, is anybody listening to John? That's not right. Hopefully you guys are, and hopefully I'm saying some useful things here. Biff says all Mondays are the same for me. Let's see. I am scrolling through some of these. So Noah Design says, at this point, John should just schedule the live and not run the camera with elevator music so we can chat peacefully. Am I getting in your way of chatting? I apologize for that. Maybe I'll sing for you, and it'll be the same as your elevator music. Let's see. Anytime Picker Roman says, PTS Treasures Archie has hookups at garage sales. He stops by and gets the box with high dollar items right away and doesn't even pay for it. No, he sells it to someone else at the yard sale, because he did that at the bins. He sold a game, a high end game that was brand new sealed. He was going to buy it for like $2 or $3 at the Goodwill bins and sold it to some guy for 80. He says, "I'll buy it from you for 80." And come to find out, that guy had it on his site, on his store on eBay for like over $300. And I don't know if the guy was able to sell it. I don't know if Archie ever followed up on that or not. Bill York says, "They're building a huge storage unit near me. They have been working on carving the space out of a hill for over 5 years." Yeah, I just don't know about putting my stuff in a bunker. That's for sure. Steve says, eBay used to have a page showing what was selling best at that time. So they still have that, like a Bolo kind of page. I remember that. It used to be on their homepage. But what's funny is the things that they'd show on their homepage. It's like, well, okay, where do I get that? Okay, it's one thing to say, focus on buying these kind of things, but if you're not coming across that kind of thing, it's like, okay, well, might as well ignore that. We've got Simplifies here. Thanks for being here today. Let's see. PTS Treasure saying, doing a deep dive into ChatGPT tomorrow. Anyone else, or am I behind the curve? If you have a tough time putting together item descriptions, because I think it's very important to have an item description, to have something write up a very good, catchy item description. Like, for instance, I do that for the LPs. There's a lot of records. I don't know these people back in the 60s, 70s, and yeah, maybe I heard of them, but I don't know too much about the album. Because ChatGPT is the new version is actually linked up to the internet data up to 2021. That's at least what it says. It can go back and do research on older data. So if I say, and including the actual category, category ID for the record, give the title. Here's my title. Drop me a quality item description. It'll come back and you can tell it, look, I'd rather you do it in bullet format or just do it in a shorter format. And it'll start doing every one you ask. You just basically paste your title in every time and it'll give you an item description. And I think it's important because someone that's looking for, let's say, that record and like, oh, I remember that song, because it'll say, this album was known for these 3 hit songs, right? I wouldn't know that. And someone that's looking for something that they would, remember listening to back in the 70s, and they see that that's the song, that right then and there is maybe a selling point. So for me, that's just a kind of a cool thing. Oh, we got AJ13. I didn't have to do that. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you, man. You're very welcome for the videos. I enjoy making them. Bottom line is I enjoy making the videos. Yeah, the editing can be kind of a pain sometimes, kind of time staking, but I enjoy doing them. But thank you very, very much for that. I appreciate it. Keena says, eBay allowing a return on new with tags dress. Buyer said doesn't fit. Had a measurements in the listing. eBay automatically approved return. Poshmark doesn't allow returns for fit. They don't even before the third day. I've only had 2 returns on Poshmark, and both times have been our fault. But I haven't had one for doesn't fit. That's interesting. John Gaynor's in the house. Hi, John. Knowledge of the items you sell, time for listing is a must, and space for your inventory without overbuying, which ends up with items that do not sell. And last, bookkeeping. All the best. Yeah, I really think, bookkeeping is one that's really like, I don't want to. I told you guys in the last live that it's kind of therapeutic for me, but it's a little bit more than that. It's, doing the data entry is kind of cool and just relaxing. Maybe have a video playing in the side. I have 2 monitors here, maybe watching the game or listening to the game while I'm doing that. But being able to just confirm in my mind that, wow, I bought an item for $1. I sold it for 170. And even after eBay got their grubby hands all over my money, I was able to make like 130, $140. And that's cool. Just confirming after all the fees and shipping, I'm able to make this off of a dollar item. That's motivational. If you can actually see it, You can kind of have an idea. Even on the stuff that you don't think is doing that well, you'd be surprised. Wow. Like on these records, I'm making like $5 or $6 a piece. I'm into them for 25 cents after it's all said and done. That's motivational. And, little things like that you do at the end of the day, it gets you recharged to come out and do it tomorrow because look at all this that I made. This is what I made. So I really think that you really need to take time, even a half an hour to your day, to just put it in a spreadsheet if you can. Unicorn Museum says, as a buyer, I don't even look at the shipping cost stars under feedback except to laugh. In July, we'll all have 0 scores for that metric. Yeah, there's some things I don't bother messing with and looking at, but definitely if a buyer has had problems with the seller or the product, like on an Amazon review, the more I see the same type of thing, seller unresponsive, or this had this defect or that didn't work properly for me here, I'm looking for something else. Norman says there are times that my gut knows better. Bought an ice cream maker vintage for $75 without knowing market sell price. Sold it for $3.59 plus shipping. That's awesome. But how many times have you made that gut purchase? I've done it before, guys. I've done it before. Made that gut purchase, and I'm sitting going, wow, really? Case in point, I've got 2 vintage slide projectors. Okay. And I bought them. I thought I got a steal. I mean, I bought the 2 slide projectors and a old Kodak camera for $25. Sold the Kodak camera within like a week or two. Made most of the money back. I think I made like 30, $40. So I made the money back. But I'm sitting here, took great pictures of these slide projectors from the 50s and 60s. And I'm like thinking, someone's going to want these. And I, looked at the few comps that there were. There were some sold comps, but few and far between over 90 days, not as many as you'd like. But I'm hopeful, right? I'm still sitting on those in my store to this day. So, even someone like me, I'm going to make mistakes like that. But you continue to make hunch buys and they burn you, you get more careful. So, yeah, for me, you just, maybe you're dealing with a few more minutes. Maybe you're dealing with the seller of the yard sale looking at you sideways. Why are you looking at your phone? But these days, I mean, who's to say you're not texting, your significant other or checking the score of the baseball game? You're not necessarily, I mean, I guess if you're scanning a barcode, but other than that, there's no real way to know. You're just checking out the cost on eBay. We got Art. Thanks for being here, Art. He loves Archie. I think every channel on YouTube loves Archie. Archie's all over the place. Norman says, if you want to hit it big, and unless you leave at large, outer, or have your own storage, spending $150 a month with items organized and packed properly will allow you to store 5,000 items to sell more. Yeah, it just depends on what you're selling. To me, look, I like my operation, and you can come here. Mike Camparelli's been here, and I don't know what his initial thought was, but I got to tell you, it's nothing to get excited about. I mean, I wasn't excited to share, my workspace with him because I look at it and I see a mess. But it works for me, and as long as whatever you're doing works for you, then that's half the battle. And AJ13 was late, but left a super chat and is going to watch the stream. So thanks again, AJ13. Oh, PS to watchers, the review offered is worth it. Advise you have heard from him before, but directly may make you try it and may get surprise results. Maybe just takes the extra kick needed. So I looked at the store. That's what he's talking about. And we found some things, and that was just my recommendations. I don't know what changes were made, but when I get a chance, and I think there's 1 or 2 of you out there that I haven't gotten to, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna when I get a chance, as soon as I can, look at your stores. But certainly flippitainteasy 2020 at gmail.com. I'm glad to help whenever I can, guys. Just for me, if I leave you feedback that you're not excited about, maybe you're like, wow, I thought my pictures were good, or wow, I really like selling these items, and you're telling me that these aren't really selling very well according to the comps. I mean, I'm not trying to hurt anyone's feelings. All I'm trying to do is just give constructive criticism and constructive help so that, maybe you can decide. It's still your choice. Decide, should I make the change or should I not? Let's see here. Mike says, ChatGPT is a game changer for me. In addition to providing optimized listing titles and descriptions, does all the research I need in 20 seconds, where I used to take 20 minutes. There you go. And you basically, what I like is it usually remembers your previous instructions, right? So you have to keep giving it instructions for the next title you put in. So I give it clear instructions. Look, here's the title I came up with. Come up with a more optimized title, and give me an optimized item description for this title, and then put the title in, and it'll say, okay, here's an optimized title or a better title for this one, and here's an optimized description to go through. So you go back to the next one, take the item that you have, your crappy title, paste it in, and just hit enter, and it'll do the same thing. Oh, okay, here's an optimized title and an optimized item description. You just do a copy, highlight, and then right click, paste into your title bar and then your description, and you got something to work with, and it only takes a matter of seconds. And here's the thing also, those of you my age, or some of you that are older, technology is something, especially the older folks, technology is not something you look forward to dealing with. It's already bad enough we have to navigate through technology problems on eBay, but the chat GPT, it sounds scary. You hear these bad stories, how, AI is going to take over the world, and maybe it will. But in the meantime, I'm happy with it taking over my listing and providing me with a more optimized result. And I would say that's probably somewhere to start if you're having some problems with putting together good descriptions. Carl Becker, is there any program that I can make drafts with and hold them for longer than 90 days like eBay? Yeah, you could do InkFrog. InkFrog has a library where it'll hold on to it. They'll hold on, and you can put your photos in there and everything. Only problem I have with InkFrog is it loves to make business policies for you, and it names it some ungodly name, and it's hard to even know what it is. So when you're creating a business policy in your listing, it's a lister through InkFrog, and you go and launch it, and now it's a new business policy, a 1,000 numbers and letters, and you're like, what is this? So that's the biggest problem I've had with InkFrog. Fairfan says, John, you looked at my store like a year and a half ago, got some great constructive criticism that helped me a lot. Thanks. And sometimes it just takes another pair of eyes that's not biased, because look, we're all kind of biased towards our own thing, right? We have an attachment to some of these things because we pick them out in most cases, and no one wants to think that, well, I failed with this purchase, right? But to have that second pair of eyes just to say, you know what, maybe he's right. Maybe I need to, maybe I didn't even think about the item itself sucked, or we had someone else that I looked at their photos and I'm like, they're not sharp. It's like, if they go to zoom in, they're going to see a blurry mess. And so I told this person, and she's like, yeah, I was thinking about getting a new phone. Maybe I need to do that. Or I just got a new phone. Maybe that'll help. And turns out that, she sent me a message saying, you're right. It was the photos. And I've gotten more sales over the last few days because I've improved my photos. So sometimes it just takes that second pair of eyes. Rosie Games says, hi, John, keep the great videos going. Have a great weekend, week, everyone. Yes, I agree with that. Have a great week. And Royal R says, ChatGPT can't make videos, but there's some software that you can actually put in, like a Chrome extension, into the ChatGPT, and you can put just a few lines of text, and it'll give you the coding needed to go to the other AI site that makes videos and photos, and it'll utilize that, and it'll make the photos and videos exactly or close to what you were thinking about. It's just crazy technology. But yeah, we're kind of getting to the meat and potatoes, or actually past the meat and potatoes of this discussion here. We're actually an hour and 49 minutes in, which is our usual run time. But really, there's something that's holding you back. We can blame eBay, and I'm glad I didn't see a whole lot of people blaming eBay today, because I think that's the easiest answer. is to say I'm doing everything right, but eBay is they're hiding my listings, they're suppressing me, yet I'm not doing the things that eBay is wanting me to do. Yeah, they change the rules as we go, and you have to be willing to change when eBay makes those changes. And I think sometimes it's just hard to want to make those changes, whether it's how you're selling, whether you're using promoted listings or what you're selling. Looking at the market and saying, wow, that used to sell 2-3 years ago, great, but it's only kind of hit and miss now. Well, it's time to make a change and to play the game along with the changes. And those who play the game and are more proactive, see the trends, and really do the right things that are going to make money, because it doesn't matter what you sell. At the end of the day, it's about making money. Yeah, I guess for some it's about selling the things they like to sell, but for me, I want to make money, and making changes helps me make money. So I'm going to keep adjusting. What I'm doing now is probably not what I'm going to be doing in a year from now, but figuring this all out is another sign of how flipping ain't easy. And I want you guys to have a great start to your week. And I will let you know about the live stream on Friday here very soon. But if we don't do the live stream on Friday, we'll do it again on Monday. But want you guys to have a great week and get up there and fix your problem, fix the thing that is blocking you from your success. I promise you that's the way to start. So have a great week, everyone.